There's been some confusion in the wake of my last video. Yeah, the sequel trilogy's plot is confusing and needs sorting out, but...
Well, I'm not even gonna attempt that.
No, I'd like to address some misapprehensions regarding my mention of other YouTube channels in the video and set the record straight. Some of the channels I used as examples of sequel trilogy critics are known on social media as part of the Fandom Menace. Simply because I used them as examples, a few people felt compelled to unsubscribe from RetroBlasting and in some cases make dramatic public exits. I've even been accused of saying in the video that I hated women and minorities, which is crazy because I said exactly the opposite. Again, these people are not good at details, but they label everything as hate and then they come at you and harass you, just as I said. They were adamant I was now part of the Fandom Menace and was associating with, quote, bullies. The art of the knee-jerk reaction isn't uncommon on social media. The knee-jerk reaction practically created social media, but that doesn't excuse it or make it any less ridiculous. Now, is RetroBlasting a member of the Fandom Menace? No, we don't make the same type of content. Plain and simple. That said, I don't have a problem with people who make content that expresses honest opinions about movies and the film industry. In that sense, I treat the Fandom Menace channels no differently than some of the pro-Star Wars channels I watch. Because in some cases, I was watching those channels before the Fandom Menace existed. I watch a lot of YouTube even as I make my own videos. While I'm watching Midnight's Edge, I'm also occasionally watching Star Wars Theory. I'm trying to get a sense of both sides. I'm a Star Wars fan. I'm interested. And that's not me hedging. I'm not neutral here. I don't like these movies. I don't watch all of the Fandom Menace channels. In fact, there are a few I straight up don't like. Just like there are a lot of pro-Star Wars channels I don't like either. Aside from Jeff Hicks at World Class Bullshitters, I haven't really interacted with anyone personally on the Fandom Menace. And you should know that Jeff Hicks has been a true supporter for RetroBlasting. He's done more to help this channel than I can list, and he supports us because of what we do. Toys, cartoons, nostalgia, and he loves our honesty. I have a lot of respect for Jeff, respect that was earned through first-hand interaction. As I've said, it's okay to like or dislike anything you want, as long as you remain honest about and toward those things. To that end, I've seen no evidence of bullying from the channels I've followed that are counted now as part of the Fandom Menace. In fact, to a channel, they've loudly and actively denounced harassment and bullying of anyone. I admit I don't follow all Fandom Menace channels. Maybe there is a bully out there and I'm missing something, but I won't judge the channels I watch for the actions of a channel I don't watch. And I'm also not sure if those bullies are commenters or channel hosts. And if it's commenters, then God help us all, because the YouTube comments section is a hellscape. There's no way to really control that. RetroBlasting welcomes everyone, whatever your age, gender, race, lifestyle, or background, full stop. We don't tolerate intolerant attacks. Our only caveat is that you don't slur people or call people haters over opinions about pop culture. The bullies I've consistently endured in the Star Wars argument have always been from the other side. The Disney fans have no moral superiority here despite what they allege. I'm sure there are bullies on both sides, but the question is, where are they? If they're channels, show me which channels they are. If they're commenters, what are we gonna do? I've been asked this question. How can RetroBlasting claim to not be Fandom Menace if you watch their channels and interact with some of them? The best way I know how to explain this is through the movie Tombstone. The Fandom Menace channels are like the Earp brothers. They've come to town and they are unapologetic in their take on the state of things with the film industry. They've taken up the badge to fight what they see as an affront to pop culture. They've gained a following of viewers, and just as passionately, they've made a group of people angry who like things just the way they are. Where does RetroBlasting fit into this scenario? RetroBlasting is, frankly, Doc Holliday. Now, before you go crazy, this is just a broad analogy. I'm not claiming to be as cool as Val Kilmer, so calm down.
There. Now we can be friends again.
First, let's just look at the optics. I'm pale, I'm underweight, I have dark circles under my eyes sometimes, and I suffer chronic breathing problems. Well, my doctor has told me that I am a plague upon humanity and cannot go to work today. I'm also not always the nicest person in the comments section on social media. I'm prickly, easily irritated, I don't suffer fools, and while I never start fights, I have a hard time walking away and not finishing them.
Up.
put you out of your misery.
Say wham!
I let people get to me more than I care to admit, and frankly, whether it's my reputation or my face, people are always starting crap with me.
I'm in my prime.
Yeah, you look it.
My beautiful red-headed companion constantly tries to get me to let things go and ignore these incidents.
What do you think, darling? Should I hate him?
You don't even know him.
But more often than not, I decide to toss out sarcastic retorts and mock them instead.
No. I'm sure of it. I hate him.
Yes, I'm not perfect. Like Doc Holliday, I only really know one of the Earp brothers, meaning Jeff Hicks, but I consider him a friend and I trust him.
That's what I love about Wyatt. He can talk himself into anything.
However, I'm not involved with the Earp's endeavors. The Earps, in other words, the Fandom Menace, are a very political force in town by the nature of their work. Doc Holliday, read RetroBlasting, is not a political animal. I don't make content that tackles politics. I don't believe in using snarky nicknames or political jargon. It's just not who I am. I'm off doing my own thing. The Earps are running saloons, teaming up for the High Council, taking on the film industry. I'm flying solo, gambling in poker games, mostly making videos about nostalgia, and frequently pissing people off with a sarcastic comeback in the comments.
I know. Let's have a spelling contest.
I'm living an almost entirely separate life in the same town known as YouTube. That doesn't mean, despite being separated by our different activities, that we don't share similar views on the lack of quality storytelling in modern films and are equally passionate about it. It's odd that people seem to be surprised that some of my opinions about Disney Star Wars are similar to the Fandom Menace takes. Apparently, they compartmentalize my reputation for brusque honesty to RetroBlasting's topics alone. They pick a fight with me on one occasion, go off and scream at the Fandom Menace on the exact same topic, but for slightly different reasons, I guess. For me, just disliking it, for them because they couch it in a political context. But as I pointed out, just disliking it is enough to earn their harassment. And then they're shocked when I show up for the same throwdown.
Fight's not with you, Holiday.
I beg to differ, sir. We started a game we never got to finish.
Is RetroBlasting part of the Fandom Menace? I guess that depends on the level of your knee-jerk reaction. You're gonna believe whatever you want to believe because we now live in an age where beliefs apparently outweigh evidence. Now, if you're asking me the question, I'd say, quote, no, RetroBlasting is not Fandom Menace because I don't tackle anything political and I devote the majority of my time to totally different types of content. I don't wear the badge, I'm not interested in doing what the Earp brothers do day in and day out. But sometimes RetroBlasting finds itself in the same gunfights. When there's a battle over the film industry versus the fans, we're usually on the same side as the Fandom Menace.
Hell, I got lots of friends. I don't.
I don't have a problem with strong opinions backed up with objective analysis and evidence, and that certainly includes the Fandom Menace channels I choose to watch. These channels were right on the money with their reporting of Rise of Skywalker leaks, even as they were accused for months of lying and fabrication. What I do have a problem with is the attitude that if you watch certain channels, you must reflect that channel's positions 100% of the time. By that logic, anyone who watches Angry Video Game Nerd curses like a sailor in their own life, or everyone who watches John Campea agrees with everything he says and does like a zombie. A lot of people who don't own cats love watching cat videos, even if they don't actually like cats. And just because a person doesn't own any cats of their own doesn't always mean they don't like cats. If you live in a world where respecting what someone does makes you identical to that person, please tell me how to go there because I really respect neurosurgeons and I'd love to magically become one by simply respecting them. And with that, I'll end the video with this question. If you were in my shoes, tell me which of these is more appealing. Listening to people unsolicitedly tell you how awful you are for disliking a movie, as they demand you call out and ditch people who've been friends to you. You must come over to their way of thinking if you want a chance for redemption in their eyes. Or, sticking with that friend they claim to despise, who has never told you how to think, never done anything but support your channel and the content you currently create, and has never based your friendship on politics. Disney Star Wars fans need to regroup and really work on their sales tactics, because right now, their recruitment strategy sucks.